Well, hello my young friends. I didn't see you there. If you're at all interested in international politics, then you've probably noticed in the last few days that there's been this kind of conflict going on between the Israelis and the Palestinians. In fact, just today, a Palestinian gunman entered into an Israeli school in Jerusalem and killed 8 Israelis. And of course, in the past several days, Israel has gone into this tiny little piece of Palestinian territory called the Gaza Strip and has killed hundreds, dozens of people. The excuse that Israel uses every time it enters into Gaza, every time it enters into the Palestinian territories, is that it's acting in self-defense. In fact, the US Congress passed a motion saying Israel has the right to self-defense, and everyone in the world says Israel has the right to self-defense. They're defending themselves from these rockets that people in Gaza are firing into Israel. They're called Qassam rockets, and of course they're homemade rockets. They're the world's most underwhelming rockets. However, since 2000 they've caused the deaths of 13 Israelis. In fact, between September 2000 and January 2008, which is now, 1,031 Israelis were killed because of Palestinian hostilities. 1,031 Israelis. So of course, you're probably thinking, why do the Palestinians hate the Israelis so much? Well, let's take a step back and take a look. Since the year 2000, 1,031 Israelis have died, but in the same time period, 4,528 Palestinians have been killed by Israelis. Now in the past several days, when Israel went into the Gaza Strip, they killed 120 Palestinians, at least half of whom were civilians not engaged in hostilities. At the same time, Palestinians killed 3 Israelis, one of whom was a civilian. So you've got 3 Israelis dead, and you've got 120 Palestinians dead in the past 5 days. Over the past 8 years, since 2000, you've got 4,528 Palestinians dead and 1,031 Israelis dead. And let's remember, you've got 40 years of military occupation to back that up. In fact, if we take a look at this little strip called the Gaza Strip, we'll notice that it has been under a complete land, air, and water blockade by Israel since 1967. Yes, that's 40 years of occupation. And in fact, the population of the Gaza Strip, which is this little tiny piece of land, is 1.5 million. Out of these 1.5 million, 1 million people are actually refugees. From where? Well, in 1948 and in 1967, Israel expelled them from their homes, which are now in Israel proper. And they've been languishing in the Gaza Strip for 40 years. So you have this population. For 40 to 60 years, they've been refugees from their homes, which you can see across the border into southern Israel. In fact, they've been living under occupation for 40 years, Israeli occupation, Israeli military occupation, for 40 years. And they're living under a complete economic blockade of water, land, air, which doesn't allow them access to food, to clean water, to medical facilities that they need, so that no one goes in and no one gets out of Palestinian territories without the express approval of the Israelis. So here's the question. Is Israel defending itself from Palestinians, or the Palestinians defending themselves from Israel? This is Comrade Nomes, and this is Proper Propaganda.
Proper propaganda. Watch it.